So everyone, as teased from the deleted scene from All Dolled Up, which none of us have any idea as to why it was deleted, because it showed Ragdoll talking to Weather Wizard, it now seems from new promo photos that his daughter, Weather Witch, is well on her way to Central City. And since these promo photos for episode 7 is a Thanksgiving episode, does this mean we're getting a time jump? And also in this video, I'm going to cover some major exciting details on the 100th episode, mid-season finale of The Flash. So stay tuned, guys. Let's talk about all of this exciting Flash news. How's it going, species? My name is BobaTalks. Welcome to a brand new Flash video. Today we're going to be talking about a lot of information. So this includes the promo photos for the Thanksgiving episode, episode 7, and the synopsis for that. But also they have released the synopsis for episode 8, which is acting as the mid-season finale, because episode 9 is the crossover episode until, you know, it returns late January. But the interesting thing about that is that we find out a lot of details about what Barry and Nora are doing in that episode, and it could, it most certainly does, include time travel and Zoom returning and possibly other speedsters. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm sure I'll timestamp it down in the comments below if you just want to skip to that and skip episode 7. But there's some interesting stuff about episode 7 as well. But just before we get into all of this, guys, enjoy a couple of new Elseworlds crossover images. Here's the official comic book cover, poster if you will, for the Elseworlds crossover, and it looks so badass. You can see Superman flying in there, you see Barry as Green Arrow, you see Oliver as the Flash, and I'm pretty sure down there that is Dr. Destiny just trolling and loving all of the crap that's going on. And of course you've got the Monitor in the background as well. I love it when they do stuff like this. It just looks sweet. And then this image that you're seeing on screen right now is obviously the Kent farm. We know that they're going to Smallville in this crossover, and we have Elizabeth Tulloch, who is playing Lois Lane, and we have good old Clark Kent here. So this is a nice little, you know, peek into Superman's life into the crossover. So cool little tease there, guys, but let's get straight into this. Subscribe if you're brand new to the channel for more Flash and Arrowverse updates just like this and other comic book nerdy / geeky content. And other than that, everyone, like this video if you do go on to enjoy it, as it really does help the channel out and gets the video out there a little bit more. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to start off with the synopsis for episode 7, O Come All Ye Faithful, I believe it is called. So that is as follows. Thanksgiving. While Nora grapples with unresolved anger over her father's disappearance in the future, Barry and Team Flash must stop a powerful new meta, Weather Witch, from killing her own father, Weather Wizard. And that is it in a nutshell. Now, the interesting thing about this that I want to first dissect is that it mentions how Nora is grappling with her unresolved anger over Barry's disappearance. That is, as we all know, is still going to happen in 2024. Now, it's important to note, guys, this isn't next week's episode. This is episode 7. Next week's episode is the Icicle Cometh, where we're actually going to get a lot of Caitlin development. We're going to see Icicle, Caitlin's father, and all that good stuff. But the fact that there is probably going to be a time jump because, you know, Thanksgiving is episode 7. And the reason why I say that is, well, essentially the Flash season 5 started off right at the end of season 4. And there has been no apparent time jump that I'm aware of. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they haven't jumped in, like, forwards in time in between these episodes. So I'm guessing during episode 6, coming next week, the Icicle Cometh, whatever happens in that episode, whether Caitlin gets her Killer Frost powers back, whatever happens with Caitlin's father, maybe at the end of that episode, there's going to be a few months time jump to get to more or less present day where Thanksgiving is, you know, just round the corner. And then that kind of leads in with this synopsis, don't you think? Because, you know, while Nora grapples with her unresolved anger over her father's disappearance in the future, you would have to think that you could attribute this to the fact that, well, she's come back in time. She spent a lot of time with her father, which was the whole point of traveling back in time, her mother, who she's now made up with. And, you know, during the time jump between episode 6 and now 7, there's only been more time, right? So there's only been more bonding, the family growing closer together, and it just makes sense when you think of, well, since she spent more time and now it's Thanksgiving and what they're being thankful for is, I'm betting Nora's just going to be like, oh, I'm thankful that I get to spend time with my father. But I think there's going to be that moment of, oh, but, you know, sooner or later, I'm going to have to travel back to the future. Maybe that conversation even gets touched upon in this episode. Who knows? And either way, whilst everyone is being thankful for everything, I could just imagine the predictableness, and it does make sense anyway, that after spending all of this time and happy time with a father she's never got to know until now, you know, she doesn't want to return to that future, and she's getting angry knowing that her father still disappears and they still haven't done anything to solve it. Because if there's one thing that we know Nora has a goal of, especially in that episode 1 ending scene where she's like, my name is Nora Allen, it's like, I'm going to stop my dad from disappearing, or whatever line she said, but essentially that is her main goal. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on that. You'd have to think there is a time jump, and it just adds in with more time spent from Nora with the family, and more bonding being created, and more frustration at the fact that she still won't be with her papa Barry the Flash in the future. Now guys, Weather Witch. Now correct me if I'm wrong here as well. I don't remember Weather Wizard having a daughter who is also a metahuman. Maybe she was caught up. I don't think she was in that storm. Like if you remember how Weather Wizard was created. Now when I saw this, I thought, okay, so maybe they're using meta tech with Weather Witch, because Weather Witch, they've expressed here, is Weather Wizard's daughter. I'm guessing they are going to change her origin up from the comics, because after a bit more research on my end, it's literally got nothing to do with what they're probably going to do in The Flash. And here you can see like basically a wand that she's going to use, just like her father, to kind of channel those abilities, you know, to kill her father. Now the main thing here is I'm just wondering how she's a meta, because if it's not going to be via meta tech, and the reason why I say that is because the synopsis does state a new meta. So I don't know if that synopsis is stating people who have meta techs are now metas, which would be kind of incorrect because it would just be the technology. Or is she actually, as the synopsis indicates, a metahuman like her father? But what are the chances that she, you know, is going to actually become a weather witch / wizardy witch, just like her father? I mean, I don't know. That just seems kind of weird. Either way, maybe I'm missing something here. Let me know if you have any emphasis that you can offer to that down in the comments below. But regardless, bottom line, she is Weather Witch. She's going to kill her father, and this ties into that deleted scene that I'm sure a lot of you have seen by now. I didn't have time to cover it before, but you know, we saw when Ragdoll was getting put into lockup, where the wizard was there and it's just like la la la, you know, let's blah blah blah, break out of it or whatever. So that kind of definitely teased that new rogues kind of team up, and will they actually break out? And I'm thinking, you know, from the promo photos that you're seeing on screen, and you have been seeing, you know, Barry and Nora there and like trying to stop her from killing her father, and we're not probably going to see Weather Wizard on screen. It'll probably be a voice, just like what we saw in that deleted scene. Maybe this leads to some kind of prison escape, but at the same time, maybe it won't. It would be really cool if it did and they were out in the wind, because then they could bring this new rogues kind of team up in the back half of season 5. But then again, I couldn't imagine them just letting that go and only for that to resurface in episode 16. Maybe they will, because they could just be like, oh, we couldn't find them, but, you know, Cisco and the Star Lab satellites are going to keep an eye on if they pop up for any residual Weather Wizard energy or some BS like that excuse. If that's the case, fine, I would believe that. Now, another reason, guys, why I'm so excited for episode 7 is just because it not only does it look awesome, but Cicada flashbacks. Now, one of the few episodes I loved last season, and I say few episodes I loved because there was only like a couple, like episode 7 and 15, was episode 7, and that was DeVoe's flashback episode. Now, episode 7 seems to be, at least from what we can observe here, is another flashback episode for this season's villain. Now, whether you think that Cicada is going to be a whole season long villain is another thing, but regardless, he is the villain, the overarching villain right now, and what we know is that his daughter is in a coma. We've seen examples of that. We've seen him visit her in hospital. We saw for the season 5 trailer in Cicada's mansion-y like house that he has a load of his daughter's toys in the room, some that seem to be scattered everywhere. And in these promo photos, guys, we see his daughter and him, like, I don't know, like seemingly going into his house. There is another photo of Cicada and his daughter in this office looking place. Now, this could just be a school. It could be like a school meeting or something like that. But you never know. I'm just theorizing this right now. It could be a meeting for a doctor, maybe them finding out that his daughter is sick. And essentially, this is just telling that backstory to why Cicada got knocked down again and again. And when eventually he got infused with that satellite, you know, part of the satellite, which is giving him all of these metahuman abilities, why he is so raging and trying to kill all the metahumans out there, because he probably blames it on all of them. And by the way, I really can't wait to get to that scene, because you would have to think in this Cicada flashback episode, amongst, you know, the Weather Witch stuff going on and the Thanksgiving stuff going on, that we will see the moment when the satellite falls and the trajectory gets changed because of Nora Allen, and thus it strikes not David Hirsch, but this guy, and creates him to be Cicada. Now, this doesn't look like a doctor's office. It does look like a school. She's got a backpack here. You see like a I don't know, like a volcano project, science fair project in the background there. So regardless if it is a school or not, I'm sure we will see that moment whether she's diagnosed with something. Now, notice how we don't see Cicada's wife. So I'm thinking, is he just like a single father and this is his daughter? Did she inherit something from her mother who may have passed away before, or is he fostered her, or is she adopted? I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments there as well. Other than that, guys, you can just see other photos of Chris Klein / Cicada with his daughter. It looks like there's some kind of dollhouse being built in the background. I think we saw that in the season 5 trailer when Cicada marched into his room with everything having been lost in his life. Main thing I'm looking forward to this is just essentially humanizing Cicada. We haven't really seen much of him talking, you know, apart from to his fellow co-worker in like the first episode or second episode, and then maybe to Papa Joe and stuff like that, but no proper dialogue. So we're going to really see Chris Klein's acting chops here, and will we be made to feel sorry for this villain and understand his motivations, even though they're not really justifiable because not everyone becomes a villain, but you know what I mean. DeVoe's episode last season in episode 7 really did a good example of that. Other than that, these other promo photos just showing Nora and Barry hugging, and I'm sure they're just like, oh, I love you, Dad. I wish you were here in the future. We're having such a great time together. We see Caitlin, who's, you know, well past the Killer Frost thing from the previous episode, the Icicle cometh. So whatever happens there, maybe at this point she has got Killer Frost back. We're gonna have to wait and see there. I'm pretty sure she probably would though, and I really am intrigued to see what happens with the Icicle. I think it actually might be a situation of where she finally finds him, and then there's a whole battle going down with Barry and Nora, because we've already seen the trailer and the promo photos for that, and just as she gets him back, I can imagine that he dies. But as a result of that, she also gets Killer Frost back somehow as well. I don't know, could be wrong, but let me know what you think. Okay, species, now for the really exciting stuff. Not that the stuff before wasn't exciting, but this is the 100th episode. This is going to be cool for so many reasons, just because it's the 100th episode, but it's also acting as the mid-season finale, where a lot of twists and a lot of shite is going to go down, really giving us that kind of probably cliffhanger moment into really wanting that season to return, and all the theory videos going around in between then. But anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Let's read out the synopsis for the episode that Tom Cavanaugh is directing. What's past is prologue. In the 100th episode, Barry and Team Flash come up with a plan to stop Cicada. However, the plan calls for Barry and Nora to travel back in time to gather some key necessities. However, Barry hesitates, concerned about his daughter seeing certain parts of his life. Meanwhile, Sherlock takes his concerns about Nora to Iris, and Caitlin turns up a key asset in the fight against Cicada. So I'm sure as you've gathered, everything about that synopsis was just fascinating. Like the first part, Team Flash come up with a plan to stop Cicada. However, the plan calls for Barry and Nora to travel back in time to gather some key necessities. Now, what could those key necessities be? Who knows? But we know that it literally has something to do with stopping Cicada, which as a result requires Barry and Nora to travel back in time. Now, what we know is coming this episode from Tony Todd, who voices Zoom. He literally leaked that Zoom would be returning, and other speedsters who all want a piece of Barry. So is it really, like, is Barry and Nora really traveling back in time to pluck the Reverse Flash, Zoom, maybe even S.T.A.R to come back in present day to stop Cicada? I think that would be an insane plan, and I don't see the merit in that at all. I mean, we know they're returning, like, we know Zoom's returning, as I said, and other speedsters, who else would that be? It's not, I mean, come on, really? Trajectory? No, it's probably going to be Zoom, Reverse Flash. Reverse Flash would turn up anyway. It's the 100th episode. You got to think that would happen. But also, S.T.A.R, really, like, erased from existence and stuff, but somehow I'm sure it's going to timey-wimey work somehow. And then, yeah, Reverse Flash, but I just don't see why. I just don't see why they would do that when they could all just pulverize and just obliterate Barry Allen there and then, and his daughter. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But the spicy thing about this being that Barry hesitates, concerned about his daughter seeing parts of his life. I don't know what he would be mega concerned about, because Nora knows everything about, like, well, public knowledge that the Reverse Flash plagued Barry, the Zoom plagued Barry, mainly Reverse Flash, blah, blah, blah. She knows somehow S.T.A.R's armor is in there. So that was a whole thing. So maybe they have to go back and learn information from them, and then they get trolled by them in, like, Season 2 Zoom, in Season 1 Reverse Flash, but they manage to get away. And that's how the speedsters come back this episode, rather than them coming into season 5 present day, because that would just be so overpowered, and how would they get away from that? But as I just said, maybe they have to go back, get some key necessities from previous villains, who may eventually end up helping Barry and Nora with their information they need to get, but do also troll them in the time they go back to each speedster. I think that might be it, because as I said, bringing them to present day or something like that, no. Nora being there as well would be good backup. So like 2 speedsters versus Zoom, 2 speedsters versus Savitar, 2 speedsters versus Reverse Flash, plus this is season 5 Flash, so he's really like much better than what he was before, so that makes it a lot more believable as well. And naturally, Barry would be kind of worried about Nora seeing some parts of his life which they're revisiting. I know that was a long-winded explanation, but I think that's a pretty good theory. I don't know. Now, a moment that a lot of us have been waiting for in terms of the last part of the synopsis: Sherlock takes his concerns about Nora to Iris. Wow. What we know exactly what is going on here is that Sherlock Wells suspected Nora at the end of episode 1 for her basically working with somebody else. Whether that be in the future, it must be in the future, right? But either way, he said, out of all the times, out of all these really awesome moments in your father's and mother's lives, all the great moments you could have intervened, it happened to be that exact moment where the satellite was coming down. And I know some people have said, yeah, but of course, because she wanted to save her father's life. But they've indicated that Barry would have survived doing that. And Nora coming along changed that original timeline trajectory of it hitting David Hirsch. So why then, unless doing that caused some kind of ripple effect that Nora wanted, or hoped at least that it would cause, but didn't. Now, I think Iris is going to be automatically defensive about this, because not only has she had a bit of a time getting close to her daughter, but to be confronted by a Wells who is just like saying there might be something more to your daughter, I think it's very predictable that they're going to be like, no, what are you on about, Sherlock? And even though Sherlock will be right, the audience will know it, I think he's going to be turned down. But the kind of cliffhanger will be presenting a scene with Nora maybe, which only confirms what Sherlock confronted to Iris about, and only the audience, will know it. And I think that would be an amazing cliffhanger for the end of episode 8, the mid-season finale, and, you know, waiting for us for the Christmas break to be over to get back into knowing exactly what Nora is doing. Maybe not in a massive evil way, but maybe like working with someone like everyone truly believes, it's like maybe the Reverse Flash, but being manipulated by him, and little does she know it, or something like that. Now, Todd Helbing did say that the mid-season finale would offer a big twist. Now, that is no surprise there, and that, you know, feeds into everything I just said. So I cannot wait. It's going to be incredible. And I just feel sorry for Sherlock already, just knowing, I don't know it, but come on. I don't believe Iris is going to be like, really, Sherlock? Oh man, we need to talk to Nora about this. And even if they did that, Nora would be like, what? Yeah, right. Then we'll speed off, and then we'll see that person that she's working with. But anyway, guys, that is essentially the video. I know it's been a bit of a longer one, but it's been a massive dose of information for you speedsters out there. But with your speedster brains, I'm sure you can process it all really fast. I don't know. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on everything I discussed down in the comments below. I read all of the comments. I might not be able to reply to every single one, but I do read every single one. So let me know everything you thought. I'm sure you have so many opinions. Subscribe to this channel for more Flash updates just like this, and more discussion videos and theory videos out there. Links to everything is in the description down below. Discord, social media, Patreon, my merch, everything like that. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you speedsters in the next video. Goodbye.